When the sun shifts in Tehran, the tremors reach Wall Street. They ripple not only across the volatile Middle East, but all the way to Washington's power corridors and Beijing's economic nerve centers. The long-standing tension between Israel and Iran, once kept in the shadows, has now erupted into a confrontation with global consequences. What began as a quiet struggle between two rivals has evolved into a geopolitical fault line, threatening to crack under the weight of missile strikes, cyber attacks, proxy wars, and nuclear brinkmanship. Israel accuses Iran of advancing dangerously close to developing nuclear weapons, while Iran maintains that its nuclear ambitions are purely peaceful. In return, Tehran warns of catastrophic consequences should Israeli aggression continue, and especially with Western powers in the mix. Recent events have transformed veiled threats into public action. Earlier this year, an Israeli airstrike on Iranian targets in Syria was met with direct retaliation from Iran-backed militias, a response louder than words, sharper than diplomacy. What was once a covert operation is now a visible chess match played across a burning desert. The region, already littered with political mines, finds itself spiraling into a tit-for-tat cycle where every move fuels the next, and fire finds fuel too easily. At the heart of the rising tension is fear of a nuclear-armed Iran, fear of another regional war, fear that the world is inching towards a tipping point. For the United States, the stakes couldn't be higher. Israel is more than a partner. It is a strategic outpost, a cornerstone of U.S. influence in the Middle East. And every year, the United States delivers billions of military aid, cutting-edge defense systems, and intelligent coordination to ensure Israel's security. But this alliance comes at a cost. As tensions rise, the United States is being pulled closer to the front line. Washington now finds itself in a precarious paradox, bound to support its ally while desperately trying to avoid a war that could engulf the entire region. The Pentagon has repositioned naval fleets in the Persian Gulf, increased surveillance, and issued public warnings. Behind closed doors, war rooms are lit late into the night. The air is thick with anticipation, and America knows that one wrong move could turn a strategic standoff into a regional inferno. Thousands of miles east, China watches quietly but attentively. Unlike the United States, China holds carefully balanced relationships with both Iran and Israel. Iran is a crucial player in Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative and a vital supplier of oil. At the same time, Israel is fast becoming a technological and innovation partner. China walks a tightrope over smoldering coals, aware that any misstep could burn its interest on both sides. Beijing's calls for restraint are not just about peace, they are about preservation. Every missile launched in the Gulf region threatens China's trade routes, investments, and long-term strategic plans. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage through which 1/5 of the world's oil flow, is now a high-stakes flashpoint. Should conflict erupt there, the economic shockwaves would rattle financial systems from Tokyo to Johannesburg. China's message to both Israel and Iran is clear: step back, not because diplomacy demands it, but because global power stability does. Meanwhile, the economic implications of this standoff are already being felt. Global energy markets are on the edge. Oil prices have surged, futures are fluctuating, traders are wary. The Strait of Hormuz has turned into a floating chessboard. Yes, naval vessels on alert, tankers rerouting, insurers hesitating. Supply chains already stressed by pandemic aftershocks and ongoing wars in Ukraine and Sudan now teeter on the edge of another regional crisis. Major shipping companies are bracing for potential blockades, while countries that depend heavily on oil imports prepare for fuel price hikes. It's not just an oil issue, it is a domino effect. Diplomacy, too, is scrambling to keep pace. At the United Nations, emergency sessions are being held with increased urgency. World leaders are appealing for calm, but behind every speech is the fear that words may no longer be enough. Regional powers like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, and the UAE are now recalibrating their alliances and defense strategies, ready for what could become a drawn-out escalation. Geopolitical analysts are issuing stark warnings. Some argue that we are entering the most volatile Middle Eastern moment since the Arab Spring. Others say that this is worse because nuclear capabilities, foreign entanglements, and misinformation now amplify every action. Dr. Lina Fares, a political risk expert, describes the situation as a recalibration moment for the entire region, where allegiances may shift and long-standing agreements may collapse under pressure. General Thomas Reed, a former CENTCOM advisor, warns that the danger lies in miscalculation. It won't take much. One misread message, one accidental strike, one false flag, and the whole thing unravels. The haunting question hangs in the air. What happens when a cold conflict turns red hot? When proxies are no longer enough and nations move to defend pride with power? When diplomacy runs out of time? This isn't merely a local affair, it is a global inflection point, the kind of crisis that reshapes alliances, redraws economic priorities, and redefines what national security means in the 21st century. The Israel-Iran conflict is no longer about religious divides or ancient rivalries, it is about modern power structures, nuclear non-proliferation, energy dependency, and digital warfare. It is about the shifting tectonics of global influence. One region's fire has the potential to burn through diplomatic agreements, military doctrines, and economic focus across continents. So, when powder kegs ignite in the desert, the echoes are not confined to the dunes of Damascus or the hills of Golan. They reverberate across the oil fields of Riyadh, the ports of Shanghai, the markets of Frankfurt, and the corridors of Capitol Hill. They touch the future markets in Chicago, the diplomacy rooms in Brussels, and the public square of Tehran and Tel Aviv. The shifting sands beneath the Middle East are no longer a distant storm, they are the tremors beneath modern geopolitics, and unless cooler heads prevail, unless dialogue rises above defiance, the sparks flying across the ancient desert may ignite a fire that no one can put out. For World Economic Federation Journalism Guild, I'm Katesha Miranda.